our show. So, Vince, you came to the show this weekend at the Ice House.
Carlos, what a fantastic set, pal. Terrific.
That's all right. You don't have to lie.
No, it was great. Listen, for those of you that don't know Carlos's act, he's great. If you get a chance to see him, you should see him. But I've known Carlos for about 16, 17, or 18 years and been seeing his act for a long time, and he's just terrific, as enjoyable as ever. It was really great. It was great to see it. But as we were driving home, so I was with my wife, and I have a cousin from New York visiting us. She's doing the acting rounds out here, and will be successful and put us all to shame.
And we'll be her bathroom attendants.
That's
like
we
our show.
We will be. So we're driving down Colorado towards Old Town after the show, and we're hungry because we hadn't really eaten dinner. But apparently,
not my fault.
Apparently, no, it's not your fault. We didn't want, and you don't blame me. We didn't want to eat the Ice House nachos.
Right.
It just didn't seem to be part of our diet regimen. And while I was pointing out and looking for a place to eat, apparently your co-host here, Vince, passed a red light. So, woo! Yes, Officer Griffin and Markham, I think, decided to pull us over immediately and escort me out of the car and give me the 45-minute DUI rigmarole. Holy cow. How much have you had to drink, sir? 2 drinks. I just came from the Ice House. Would you like to see my receipt? Apparently, drunks are good about hiding other receipts, so they won't listen to you if you show them a receipt. They frisked me.
Wow.
And it was just a whole big thing.
That's Pasadena, baby. They don't mess around in Pasadena.
Holy cow. It was like a police state on that sidewalk.
You got a DWI, driving while Italian.
That's right, certainly. There were 3. Actually, there were 2 of us in the car that got cited for that.
And you didn't use your wife?
And my wife was DWP. She was Department of Water and Power. She was driving while Filipino. It was quite a bit. My wife was fuming because she thought that they were being very disrespectful to me. Yeah. They asked me to hold my head still and follow the finger, which I did.
Was it the middle finger?
They did.
That's very disrespectful.
It was very disrespectful. See, maybe that's why she was so mad. And apparently I wasn't following it fine, so they wanted me to stand with my feet together. Now, for those of you listening at home that don't know, I just had hip surgery a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not allowed to stand with my feet together. I have to keep them shoulder-width apart. So I said, officer, I cannot stand this way. And he said, well, you have to do the test. I said, what's the protocol when you have someone who's disabled? I said, I have a temporary, certified disability. I said, I cannot stand this way. Well, we can, put you on the breathalyzer, but I don't think you want to do that. And now I'm thinking in my head, what? And you never know. I know that I'm not drunk. I've had 2 drinks, and I'm okay. I was a little tired, and we hadn't eaten dinner. We
should have eaten those nachos.
I should have eaten the nachos. That's the lesson. The lesson
know who called?
Is
the Ice House. That son of a bitch left without getting a meal.
Exactly.
They have a direct pipeline to the Pasadena cops.
So what happened was they said, well, here are your choices. We go to jail, you can get a hotel room, or get a cab. They wouldn't let my wife drive. They actually gave her the same test, and they're like, apparently these cops have unfollowable fingers because he did the same test for my wife.
Yeah.
And she couldn't follow the fingers either. So they parked my car, and we got a cab, unfortunately, which it was a very expensive. But here's the interesting thing.
How come your cousin couldn't drive? She lives in New York. She doesn't need a car.
No, they wouldn't let any of us drive.
Did you all have 2 drinks?
We all had 2 drinks.
Nobody could follow the finger.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing.
What are the odds that a car full of 3 people cannot follow a finger? That's you should call Ripley.
But yet
turn this into a Ripley's Believe It or Not.
But yet we were not. Not only that, I wasn't even cited for the red light.
Oh, that's great.
So there's a kind of clouds are parting on this rainbow here, but it was still a really strange experience. So the lesson cost us a $65 cab ride from Pasadena to Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had to get the car the next morning.
So they kind of let you go.
They let us go.
Okay. It's not your fault. I'm here like Robin Williams to say it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Well, I could have. Now, I did have a phone a friend option.
You
I'm
could have
sorry, I
said,
did have a
"Let
phone
me
a friend.
call my friend Carlos Alazraki, who played a fake cop on a show called Reno 911. He's an actual fake sheriff. He might be being a fake cop and you being a real cop, be able to tell you that I'm not drunk and I've actually had hip surgery.
Well, I
would have
no
vouched
one
for
there.
you.
You would have had to come and pick us up. I'm like, he's got a 10:00 show. He can't come and pick us up. It was the craziest thing. I felt so helpless, and he was like, "You're being very respectful to us." Of course, I'm being respectful to you. You're officer, the sworn peace officers.
Good
Of
for
course
you.
I am.
That's hard for a conservative to do.
No.
I'm surprised you didn't. Like, Obama on his police state and jackbooted
Exactly.
thugs.
Is there a drone? If I get away from you, will be shot
You
down
would've
by
been
a drone?
Do not feel bad. I left the Ventura Comedy Club almost a year and a half ago. I had a Corona at 11:45. I was off stage at 12:45. I drive out of there. I'm trying to call Laura to tell her I'm coming home. My wife in my Audi TT.
My wife?
With a stick shift. And I'm on the phone, which I'm not supposed to be. It's supposed to be
There's
speaker.
no Bluetooth in that car.
No, there is not. It's a little Motorola thing that never worked. And then I get pulled over by a really young officer, and he's like,
CHP?
Yeah. How much?
Apparently CHP does not let you go anywhere.
Well, this is the funny thing.
They're real sticklers with the 10.
Young kid, looked like Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver, right? And he's like, "How much have you had to drink?" I've had one beer. I had it at 11:45. I got off stage at 12:45. But he's like, "Can you step out of the car?" Sure. Yeah, no problem. Can you do this test? Can you follow? I passed the follow the finger thing, passed the walk the line thing. And he made me take the breathalyzer anyway. And these two other cops pull up, and they recognize me from Reno 911. They're like, "Do you know who that guy is?"
He's a fake cop.
I'm thinking, great.
He's
He's
a
like,
fake
Reno
cop.
911. And then they take off, and he goes, "Okay, thank you. Okay, so now let's continue
get
with
back
the
to
test."
business.
Wait a minute!
I was just noticed by your
just
buddy.
noticed. But
Oh,
like an
there's people.
idiot, like an idiot, I told him, I go, "Look, I wasn't drunk. I was just on my cell phone, and I couldn't control the car." You know?
Yeah.
Foot and mouth, foot and mouth, foot and mouth. But he ended up letting me go.
While you're writing the tickets, can you write one more for, talking on a cell phone while driving recklessly?
So don't feel that you were targeted and you were treated.
No.
If nobody was there to say that I was being disrespected, I kind of laughed at it. But I was like, I had one beer at 45 minutes ago.
So did he cite you?
But I did the breathalyzer. I did it anyways. I volunteered. He's like, "Do you want to do the?" Yeah. I thought it was like a carnival game. Ring the bell, get a little Cupid doll.
I don't need any dude telling me to blow something.
Yeah. See, you have to go there. You have to get there
Okay.
with our special guest right here. You have to
No,
know
he's
that.
not here yet.
He's not here yet.
He's not
coming.
special
the
yet.
camera's spotting him.
He's not special. He's just here.
Yeah,
Listen.
what? You can't follow the finger. You can't even see him. He's here.
He's
You
not
got
here.
bad peripheral vision. You know what you need? You need like a Bode IMAX windshield in your thing.
I need a fisheye lens.
Yeah, fisheye lens so you can see a little bit more.
Everything.
It's a 28.
Sad. Listen, lots of deaths going on today.
Yeah,
We
and Ed
lost
Funicello
Margaret Thatcher.
dancing with Margaret Thatcher on the Falkland Islands beaches, ladies and gentlemen. You get that reference? Yes, you do. Or the Malvinas, as my mom still likes to say, because she's got the RG blood.
Annette Funicello, Margaret Thatcher, and also film critic
Roger
Ebert.
Ebert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any connection to any one of them?
Maybe Maggie Thatcher, because my mom did not like Margaret Thatcher, especially during the Malvinas War. But that was a war by the Argentinian president to, disguise the debt and the horrible corruption that was going on in Argentina. Like a 2,000 square foot island full of sheep, and the Brits are saying, "No, we're not going to let the Argentinians take it." And so the Britons enlisted the help of the United States Navy
You're
as
a little
well.
closer. Go take care of these guys.
Yeah. And so it was just a war over stupidity. And
Leave a couple of
Margaret
sock-
Thatcher was kind of bullish, and she liked Ronald Reagan, which pissed my mom off because she didn't like Ronald Reagan. They were both sort of austerity. If now they would be into the whole austerity thing. And poor people don't deserve to be helped. Fasten your bootstraps, blah, blah, blah.
We pulled ourselves out of a war. What if the Nazis were bombing us left and right?
That was Churchill.
Oh, that guy. They
Yeah.
look kind of similar.
They did. I think
Especially if you put a cigar
You never
in their
saw
mouth.
both of them together.
See? It's maybe
You never
Churchill
s-
with a fright wig.
Think about it. May she rest in peace.
And may Annette Funicello, the
Yeah.
probably most identifiable Mouseketeer.
Outside of Britney Spears.
I still think Annette.
Annette's got it.
Yeah.
Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. They were never really an item, though, right?
No, beach party bingos. And, if obviously for myself and for the guest who's not here yet, for fellow Italian Americans, huge kind of breakthrough in terms of, I think she was probably the most famous, actually, for a long time.
American Italian, as
American
opposed to
Italian,
Sophia
correct.
Loren or something
Yes.
like that. Yeah, it always happens in threes.
They say
Now, if
that,
we could just
but
start
this
with
one's
one
a-
Kardashian.
Oh.
Then dung, dung, dung. No, just kidding.
I would get rid of all of them, please.
Get rid
Where
of
do
them.
we start? And they keep reproducing.
Oh yeah.
You know, not only are they reproducing like little Armenian babies, now they're reproducing half black babies, which is the worst.
They're taking over America. Get ready
Maybe
for it,
there'll
white
be
people. White
little,
power.
little black babies that speak Spanish.
Yeah. What if
Holy
Honey Boo Boo grows up to marry a Kardashian? That's it. That's a sign of the apocalypse.
Oh yeah, it'll come out with horn. Oh, I'm here.
We're not even talking about how people are fighting on Facebook.
Hey, so let's go quickly over to our dislike button.
Yeah, on Facebook they don't. Okay, go ahead.
So the Huffington Post.
That liberal rag,
Damn rag, you're gonna start us off if you can.
Greek witch.
That she is.
Ariana Huffington. I love Obama. I take a bath in his soup every night that he doesn't drink.
I have lots of money. So
Huffington Post. Thumbs down, need not apply. Facebook dislike button, not a good idea.
It looks as if Facebook is trying to stay positive these days. The social network won't be adding a dislike button to the news feed anytime, at least according to product engineer Bob Baldwin.
Not one of the Baldwin brothers.
Not one of the Baldwins. Not one of the Kardashians either. Actions on Facebook tend to focus on positive social interactions, not on our show.
No way.
Like is the lightest weight way to express positive sentiment. This latest bit of news is a further blow to users who have been wanting a dislike feature for years.
You know, it's useless if us Facebook haters have only one option at our disposal, using the Hater app, which allows users to dislike friends' Facebook posts. But sadly, only on the Hater app, not on Facebook. So there is an app to help you with your hate.
But
Or you could be
directly.
Jamie Waterman.
And hate everything through.
Or
Well, that's
Carlos Alazraqui.
That's going to come out on our comments. I guess they're right. They do want to keep it positive, and the forum does allow you to express yourself. So
You can freely hate. You can say, you could type in dislike. Mm-hmm. It requires that you do some work rather than push one button. You know, if you got to hate, you got to work for it.
well, let's see what the
people are saying.
what the loons have to say.
They've
All right.
released the hounds.
Give the people what they want.
Ah, bullshit. What's the real reason? You can't even wish a friend a happy birthday anymore without being completely harassed by Facebook to buy them a gift from one or more of their advertisers. So forgive me if I don't buy this latest bit of poppycock. Wow. From the social site that follows the money like the rats followed the Pied Piper.
Ooh.
Wow.
This next chimer, his
That's a
name
dislike.
is James Brown, so I'm going to have to do it out. The world already has enough dislike. If you dislike something, ignore it, because any energy you put into expressing that dislike just make the thing bigger. Yeah, hit me.
Well, then I'll do this. I'm fine with this. There's a ton of drama on Facebook already, and thumbs down option would just add to it.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Rosa says,
Rosa, that's BS. They just like in their little calculations to work out what ads you suggest on your page. Dislikes won't help them as much. Keep it real, Facebook.
no, I'm not going to go stereotype because our next guest is David Kim.
But
so
please do.
No, I'm not going to do it. But I'll do authentic. Get rid of the like button as well so people are forced to express themselves with words. It's good for you, as he has done in this post.
Because it would make known how displeased people are with certain organizations, companies, and their products. Facebook is designed for corporations and companies to basically invade our lives, force us to view ads, and spam our news feeds with their shitty little products. Allowing a dislike button would harm that lucrative profit machine.
Screw them! I want a thumbs down button.
A middle finger icon needed too.
Can't they at least change its colors during certain months for special events, such as turning it pink for an entire month of October for breast cancer awareness, etc.?
Social awareness, don't you love it? They force what they want on us and don't give us what we want. Unsmiley face.
Yeah. Because they are control freak Nazis. There's the Nazi. 17 posts, I think, before Nazi broke out, who exploit each other and the system and want everyone to stay optimistic so they hold their power. I didn't read the article, just a guess.
I didn't read the article.
Why?
Just a guess. How's that? Don't you think most people commenting on these posts are not reading.
I'm not reading the article. There's like 77 articles that Jamie Waterman has sent me that I've never read.
You should read
Because
one.
it doesn't agree with my point of view. Why would I do that and educate myself as to the opposite side of?
I would go crazy with the dislikes.
I'd rather see a dislike button than listen to all of the cursing and filth under a post when people disagree with it. No, that would ruin our show, Donna Beyer Rupture. I hate you, you stupid idiot. See how that works?
Best dislike button is ignoring the post.
Well, then I didn't even see what he wrote. Because they would have...
Oh, we need commas. It's about 234 billion.
Gajillion dislikes every 2 weeks when they change their format.
Yeah.
Okay,
so people are not happy. I would love a dislike. I think...
it actually might save Facebook the embarrassment of people getting really rude like they do on our posts, which fuels our show. You know, people's like, you know what? But I think I agree with the people that it's more valuable to actually have your opinion. And you don't need to be nasty. You could just say, I dislike that. I disagree. Steve Barkley, my conservative friend, had a post about how Alan West got ripped off and blah, 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 Deborah Wasserman Shorts and the Democrats stealing elections in Florida, when in actuality I sent him an article, or Jamie the article, about the Democrats received like 1.2 more million votes in elections for the House, but lost like 4 to 9 in terms of seats. But instead I wrote, you know, tears of joy for me. I like to dig with happy things. Anything that makes Steve unhappy, I go, 4 more years, 4 more years. And I'm not being negative.
That evil chant. Yes. So what are we going to say about the Tonight Show fallout? We've got Jay Leno going out next year and Jimmy Fallon coming in.
Into New York. Everything's going from the West Coast back to the East Coast. It's all cyclical. We
we
stole
are
it from
gonna
them. They're stealing it right back. It's like the Mexicans in the United States.
We are going to go back to a desert wasteland here.
Who was it?
Thank God we have sprinklers.
Yeah. Somebody said that. Bill Santiago was a comedian saying eventually he goes, I'm I'm Puerto Rican and my wife's Mexican. My kid's half Mexican and half Puerto Rican. He goes, half Mexican. That's not a big deal. Eventually everybody's going to be half Mexican. And of course the crowd there is like, all right, Raiders, Dodgers, Lakers.
Yours.
Dodgers.
We're going to have, how did this happen like in the last 50 years that everyone will ultimately speak Spanish or Farsi?
Spanish Empire is stronger than the English Empire. And because of and or Chinese.
Because of
Chinese
Queen Isabella?
Queen Isabella. It's because of Columbus.
Everyone would speak Spanish.
It's because of
Spanish.
Spanish from Spain. But it's evolution. You can only push people out for so long. It's like, well, these people, we'll just push them to the side and they'll never come back. Oh, it's like Samson trying to hold the post up.
haven't pushed us far enough. We're here.
I know, but Spanish will be probably the official second language of the United States, probably within 25 years.
You mean it's not already? Oh, I'm sorry.
En California sí, como claro que sí en California, pero
claro que sí,
los
claro que
otros
no.
estados no. Por el norte no hay muchos latinos porque es tan frío. It's too cold for them wetbacks up north.
You mean wetbacks?
Yeah.
Are you from Alaska?
Am I a senator from Alaska? Okay. Soon we'll introduce our guest because we're coming up on the first break pretty soon.
Forget it. No.
Fight.
Listen, Leno out.
What happened? I had a good show in downtown Burbank. I stole the show from David Letterman. So it's not fair that somebody else from New York should steal it from me. Letterman is going, yes, yes, yes. Although he made a joke where his mother said, David, you blew another opportunity to have the Tonight Show again.
Well, how? He was not even in this picture.
Not in this picture, but, you know, what goes around comes around. You know, Jay took it from Dave. It was, what was his name? Manager's name? I think it was like Kushner or something like that. It's in the book Late Night. But Dave was all set up to take it. And Dave has always been more of he's more on par. Pardon the pun, with Jack Parr and Johnny Carson, and being a television personality. Right. The David's way of handling the show and interviews and innovative things and hoisting them.
Clever.
So, very clever. And Jay was always just more of a comic. You know, I can do a monologue, I can interview guests, and we'll have
he's gotten much better at delivering his monologue over the years. But after you delivered it 300 times a year over almost 15, 20 years he's been.
But he's an East Coast transplant as well. You know, you come on David Letterman and do his bit with his black letter. You know what my beef is, Dave? These people that do this stuff on the subway, that's my beef. And that's why I feel that Letterman felt so slighted, is because he used to have Jay on his show as one of his comics. But I think Leno was capable. Monologues have gotten better, but there's just something. It's a bit obviously, our economy is youth-driven, and everything feeds into attracting a younger audience. And Jay's demographics are a little bit older, as were
He's
Johnny
still
Carson's.
number one. I mean, it's interesting. They're replacing
Yeah, but so is
someone
2.5 Men, and that's not saying much. You know, still
Hey,
number one,
folks.
still number one with people that aren't discerning.
Yeah.
And that just tells me that most of America is not discerning. They don't
Well,
want anything clever.
They also have a lot more choices. They've got Letterman. They've got Jimmy Kimmel, who's a
Conan.
rising. They've got Conan. They've got
That dirty
Jon
Italian, Jimmy Kimmel.
They've got Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert on Comedy Central. They've got Chelsea Handler.
They've got Dennis Miller. No. They got Red Eye on Fox. No.
They've got the Ed Show on MSNBC at that time too. No, so stop.
Well,
Don't
Ed's
go
not a
there.
comedian. Red Eye and Dennis Miller were supposed to be comedians. Supposed to be. Okay, Chachi. Remember Dennis Miller? Remember when I used to be sort of politically left and then I couldn't compete with Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert?
Nice.
I joined the Fox people.
Nice.
I was on Monday Night Football. He was actually good on Monday Night Football, Dennis Miller. He was insightful.
Well done. No, I'm gonna give you that. And then also, I don't have this anywhere factually, but apparently President Obama is going to give back 5% of his salary to. Yes, he's going to donate it back to either a charity or something.
Probably go to some basketball school somewhere in Hawaii.
I'm sure.
You know how those people do.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about that as a move politically? You think it's disingenuous? Do you think it's altruistic?
I think it's expedient and somewhat disingenuous, and it is altruistic. But as Paul Krugman pointed out in an article that we're going to talk about later in Take the Bait, anything that Obama does, approaches, offers up to the Republican GOP, House of Republicans, is just, no, 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 no. We will not let you succeed in any way. When you have Mr. McConnell saying, our number one goal was to make sure that Obama doesn't have a second term. What about Job? No, our number one goal. It'll be his Waterloo. Kill him. Kill the black man. That's all that they're about. So why?
He's a half black man.
Why should anything he does resonate with the people that hate him? They just hate him, and that's it.
Well, our good friend Doug Trayer posted an article about Obama donating back his 5%. And I was the first one to chime in. I couldn't stand it.
Where is this? Is this the second one?
No. This was a while ago. And I said that's a great move by the president. But why does he donate his vacation money instead? Because the millions.
Did not George Bush break the record for going on vacation?
You see, now okay. This is what we're going to get into.
Plus, George Bush had his own properties to go to. Obama only has the one house in Illinois.
So then why doesn't he go to Illinois instead of going to friggin' Hawaii with the entire White House?
He's from Hawaii.
Then let him stay there. Let him.
He can,
okay,
like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He never lived in Sacramento. No, I'm in Malibu sleeping with the maid.
That was a bad choice, clearly. Let me go back to my point. I just said instead of donating back the 5%, why don't you just pay for your own vacations? So he
Presidents have never done that.
Go
ahead.
So he said he hasn't taken as much vacation as George Bush. And I said, I understand that. And I don't agree with George Bush taking, apparently it was 180 days of vacation. And
not counting the first 6 months of his term where he broke records while after receiving documents said that Al-Qaeda was poised. I'm in Crawford trying to catch an armadillo.
Okay, so I said, I understand that. But now his 180 days of vacation totaled up to what? And how much did Obama's vacations total? I was looking for a dollar figure, not a day figure, but no one could give me that. And of course, Lori Bell
Fitzsimmons,
you said it, not me, chimed in, and we went at it, and I had to, calm her down again, and rub her in that hairy area that she likes.
Yeah,
it was not pretty. And I got swarmed on, but basically, I wanted to just say, what is the country laying out? How much does the president make a year? What's the president's?
It used to be 200,000.
Okay, it's 400. Okay, it's gone up. So 5%, if my math is right, is 20,000.
20,000.
Okay,
yeah.
Drop in the bucket, nothing. He has spent the country has spent millions. I think the last vacation in Hawaii was somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million to send the president. So why doesn't he just pay for his own vacations? Because I think we didn't have to.
He only makes $400,000 a year. Can't afford to do it.
He's got let him go on the sidewalk with a tin cup and beg for it.
Yeah.
All right. Let Michelle sell some of her, her
armless dresses.
It's just that there's a bunch of amputees who need armless dresses.
Yeah. But we've never asked other presidents not to go on vacation, so why this president?
I understand. They need clearly, if you have this job, you need the rest. But even a vacation for these guys has to be a working vacation. They need the bat phone right at their side.
You know why he needs so many vacations? Because the previous president screwed it up so badly that he's freaking tired of trying to fix it.
Here we go. Listen, we're at 5 years out. You can't keep listen. Horace Harding, I hear, was not a great president, but nobody's blaming him.
You're 5 years out because the problem that it seems so long to you is because you magically think that 2 unpaid for wars, Medicaid Part D, just magically disappears. Obama should have just snapped his fingers. There's no long-term residual effects of 2 unpaid wars.
Those are fighting words.
Let's have a war. We're having a Facebook war. This is what the Facebook war is all about. We can respectfully disagree.
People arguing.
I have more hair than you. So there.
So anyway, that was the discrepancy we had. We've got an upcoming.
You know who could pay for those vacations? The NCAA, who uses free labor, part of which falls off the floor and snaps their leg through their shin bone. And good luck with your health in the future, Kevin Ware. Maybe we'll continue your scholarship next year. We're not sure. The NCAA March Madness could pay for Obama's vacations.
Why don't they?
They don't see the money they don't give to other black people. They could give to this one black person, Obama, and then he could spread it around.
But they'd rather. Where does that money go? A little bit of it goes
to the
back
college,
to
other sports programs, to
the
pay the coaches,
team?
to pay Rick Pitino $4 million so he can pay an intern $3,000 to have a procedure done. Abortion, most likely.
Maybe they did it in the restaurant.
Yeah. Well, conceivement and from beginning to end. So the college coaches get paid gajillions of dollars. They use free labor. They're getting an education. Let's have you read Cat in the Hat. The cat, what? Okay. Did you hear the LaSalle players talking about Wichita? Jay Moore played a drop. He's like, oh, Wichita, man. I don't know why Wichita is.
Is that a segment from Gator Hunters? On the Discovery Channel?
Pretty much. No, these were college student athletes. Come on.
We should just take the student out of athlete.
Yeah, because all the recruiters are following the kids when he's 7 years old. And
let's check your SAT scores right after the game.
You know, Kevin Ware is a part of the Louisville basketball team because he won several spelling bees. No. He can't spell spelling bee.
I still find it amazing that Harvard won a game.
That's right. And Jeremy Lin is Linsanity from Harvard.
That's correct. But that Georgetown, one of the top universities in the country, has a fantastic basketball team.
They do. And who was from Georgetown?
Allen Iverson.
Practice, man.
Practice.
We're talking about homework, man. We're not talking about the test.
We're talking about math.
We're talking about homework.
Math, English,
You went Asian. You went Asian. You're a racist.
I am. Well, I went back to Germany.
In your effort to make fun of a black person, you went Asian. It's double racism.
as only I could do, as my wife would say. This was so difficult this past week for me. I'm so happy that I'm kind of on my own.
Were the cops white that pulled you over?
One was white, one was Asian.
Oh, and your wife didn't use the whole, rice.
No, she didn't. She didn't do the Jedi mind trick. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for her to say.
Because
we have our ice at home.
Yeah. Because he's probably like Japanese or Korean or something, and she's Filipino, so she's one down. She's like
she's a
light-skinned black.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She am a mulatto.
Yeah, she got that Spanish blood.
She's a mulatto.
Tagala doesn't work with me.
No, it clear. Nothing worked with these guys. Although I'm still stumped. They let us go. Why'd you let us go?
Yeah. There's Emery, and he has to meet my father-in-law. The ardent atheist. My father-in-law is an atheist, and he's going to bust in right now.
I know. He can't take it.
He can't take it.
He can't take it.
This would be
over.
Christopher. He watches hours and hours of Christopher Hitchens. This is our friend Emery.
How are you?
The ardent atheist.
Charlie Mallett.
You know what? Join our show. Let's go on a break, right? Let's take a little break, and we'll come back, and we're just going to go off kilter a little bit because Emery's here. My father-in-law's here, and he loves to talk about religion. We have a new pope from Argentina.
You have a new pope.
Yeah,
You're not.
Watch your pronouns.
I do not have a new pope.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Whereas we have much to talk about. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll introduce our guest, and we'll just go off course a little bit. Is that all right?
You're listening to the Facebook
This
board.
is what
We'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
GoCast Network.
Buckstar here, Greg Seitz, whatever my name is. Greg Buckstar Seitz, CEO of GoCast Network.
And I'm Gary Garver, formerly of I don't even want to mention that asshole's name, from the GoCast Network, program director of the GoCast Network.
Weren't you on Journey?
Yeah, that was it. Sammy Hagar, they say.
Sammy Hagar. And you know what? We got some sick new technology. You can check us out with Vidi.
What the hell's Vidi, Greg? I have no idea what that is.
Vidi is Instagram, Twitter combined for a great 15-second video experience where you'll see awesome clips and fun stuff.
Wow, I can't wait to check that out. Where do we go?
Vidi.com? I think so.
Okay, cool.
Hello, people out there in the Twitterverse. You have to listen to Balancing Act on the GoCast Network, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot always listen to it in the water tower. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Danny Trejo, and when I'm in Huntington Beach, I go to my favorite restaurant, the Second Floor. The Second Floor has my favorite food, and man, you have to see their colossal burgers. You need a damn machete just to cut them. And they were just voted the best fusion art restaurant. Tattoo art from some of the biggest names like Jack Rudy and Rick Walters. Every Thursday night, art shows featuring legends to local artists come in, and you can meet them in person. You can buy the art right off the walls, and all sales go right to the artist. After 10 p.m. Thursday through Saturday, well-known DJs spinning an eclectic mix of music, and you gotta check out their late night menu. Go visit them on the web, check out their great menu, upcoming art shows, and your favorite DJ. Located at 126 Main Street, downtown Huntington Beach. Second Floor. I'll see you there.
Before you hit fast forward, listen to this.
It's the big hot rockin', non-stop and less talking, boss jockin', head knocking, finger popping, yanking, cranking, hiney spanking, wham bam, thank you ma'am, 50,000 watt blowtorch of rock and roll! That is the Dick and Darren Show.
Dick and Darren downloaded 185 episodes. It's pretty good for you. You'll like it. Up in your ear hole.
On the GoCast Network.
We're back on the GoCast Network.
Vince, we're back, and we are going to go off course.
Let's be friends first.
We can be friends. You suddenly find yourself outnumbered with our special guest, my father-in-law, Charlie Malla.
Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Live from the
Great to
Bronx.
have you. That's right. 2 Italian-Americans from the Bronx,
Via Montville, New Jersey, and now Arizona. And our favorite person, your favorite person, two bald guys on the same...
I still have nightmares about this guy.
No.
Yeah, why can't your hair...
I need you on the show. Come do my show soon. I gotta have
Emery
you over
Emery
there.
is with us from the Ardent Atheist. And before we got started today, I said the two specialties of Charlie Malla, in the area where I disagree with him on most of the stuff is gun control, but where I agree is atheism. And he is, like Emery, is an atheist. Maybe not quite as flamboyantly vocal, but they both are.
Why'd you have to say flamboyant?
I meant it in a manly.
Okay.
I meant it.
And I took it that way.
Expressive.
Now, my question for
I'm going to do a gay atheist show and just sidetrack the market.
Yeah. We're going to take half
Carlos
of your
Allen's
audience.
Rocky, gaytheist.
Gaytheist. Beautiful. That's my sitcom.
I love compound words.
No, you know who has that? Well, maybe does Durwood have that already? Durwood has the atheism thing, I think. She has the
sure she
bisexual
does.
atheism.
Yes.
But I like gaytheist.
Gaytheist
Pretty
is
nice.
good.
Somebody just heard this as a show already.
Charlie, how did you go? I'm assuming you were brought up Roman Catholic.
I was.
And how did you get from there
How
to
did you escape?
How do
Yeah. Were you being chased by a priest?
No, it's funny. I never really understood what was going on in the Catholic Church. I never understood the masses back when I was a kid. I mean, I'm 67 years old, so we're going back a number of years. That
You going back to Latin?
we're going back to Latin.
I
A lot of stuff
ipsum, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't understand the point of speaking in a language that I didn't understand. But I also, even as a little kid, when I went for my my Holy Communion, I was scared to death. I was scared to death of the nuns. They were so mean.
That's what they're there
I mean,
for.
why?
The angry penguins.
I mean,
They keep you in line.
religious.
God's soldiers.
Why are they so mean? What was it about that? But it was really, I guess, my father who insisted that I go to church, and my mother and brother. And he sat in the parking lot of the church reading the Daily News.
Smoking
Never
Parliament.
came. No, he didn't smoke, but he never once came into the church. And he would take me on Saturday to, which is an interesting thing, going on Saturday for confession, because you could pretty much do whatever you want during the week, and then just kind of, it's like cleaning your plate. And so my other Catholic friends said, "This confession is great. We'll just do things that we normally wouldn't do. Not that they wouldn't normally do it, but they did them, and
It was in their nature.
it was in their nature, and
Why
they were
say-
clean. So
It's a Catholic Etch-a-Sketch.
it's just like
it's
today.
like lava
I mean,
soap. It gets everything off.
I mean, you can be a mass murderer as long as you take Jesus Christ in your heart before
Well,
you
you'd have
die.
to say a lot of Our Fathers, though.
Well,
Whatever. Whatever. Come on. Confession is the engine that continues to drive the mob. The mob is completely absolved every time they just ask for it. And they think that works.
Yeah.
Well,
they
can
really
I tell you?
believe that
Can I
works.
tell you something about confession? I have not been to confession.
You mean, can you confess something?
Of course, I can confess something, but I don't need to confess something to a priest. I confess things every day, and the way that I confess is by trying to live my life correctly. But I don't feel like, even as a Catholic, I need to follow all of the rubrics that the church has set out for me. And this is where, this is where there's some common ground with us. Clearly, I am a believer in God, but the Catholic Church has to work for me. Otherwise, now, do I become less of a Catholic? Do I become a bad Christian because I don't go to confession?
Yes.
Okay, but you feel that way. I don't feel that way.
Well, all I mean by that is you believe in God, and that's fine. When we spoke about it, I don't know that I got to the point of asking you, do you believe in God because the Bible says so?
No, I probably believe in God because I have been. It's been in my life. It's been in my environment.
Well, we understand that. I mean, when you look anthropologically at what belief is about, there's no question that's how it works everywhere.
Right.
You take a Chinese infant, and you put it in a home in Overland Park, Kansas, and that kid's going to be a Christian, likely. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about.
Or be exposed to it.
Yeah.
It may not take.
Well, no, likely is the right. It's likely to become.
But
a
what if you
Christian.
put that same Chinese youngster in the car with Charlie's dad reading the paper? She becomes a believer in the Daily News. So
or really great at horse racing. That's
right.
But
really great at picking the winners at Aqueduct.
I suppose you could say, I believe in some sort of spiritual presence. My mom believes in God. What defines God? What? Somebody said there might be evidence of God in nature, like the Yosemite, the beautiful waterfalls. This must have been created by something good. What is, in your mind, is God a man? Is he white? What is your picture in your head when somebody says God? Is it of a waterfall or is it of a human figure?
You know, I would love to. I probably in the back of my mind, I have that classic picture of
Man in beard.
The man in the beard.
Dumbledore.
Yep.
Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Looking off to the right because
Yeah.
that's the direction you want to go.
No.
Let me ask you this: do you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior?
I do.
Okay. You're going to go to heaven, hopefully.
Now, I believe that is my belief, and no one here can disprove that.
Okay. No one here can prove it either.
Correct. So we're on equal.
It's
we're
very,
on equal
very
footing.
hard to disprove a negative.
No, we're not
It's-
on equal footing.
No,
we're
it's
not.
I could say to
Because
you,
you believe in fables.
Well, but let me ask you this: do people who do not accept Jesus Christ as their Lord, will they be going to heaven? Could they have any chance of going if before they died they don't accept Him?
It's interesting. Now, the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, will say, "I am the truth, the light, and the way to redemption. And if you believe in me, you will have this glory in
Everlasting life.
God's
Everlasting
in God's heaven." And I'm paraphrasing. Thank you for
Yeah.
thank you for great. It's always nice when you get corrected on Bible passages by an atheist.
Yeah.
I was a
Probably
Christian and I read
yeah.
it cover to cover
Yeah.
when I was
Probably
trying to
find
be a preacher.
atheists know
What's-
a lot more than religion.
Yes, and what's interesting about Roman Catholics is we actually don't spend a lot of time reading the Bible. The Catholic Church has very specific readings which are read cyclically over the calendar year or the church year. In terms of other people, non-believers, I feel like this is Vince speaking, not Vince, the authority
What
on
is this, a seance?
Catholicism. Exactly.
I can see you.
Everybody hold hands.
see you.
I can see you. Jesus Christ.
Table
Harry
is moving.
Houdini, yes. I didn't bring my Ouija board, so just that if you live a good and wholesome life, that there is something there for you in the afterlife.
Not
A
necessarily
reward.
the same heaven, though.
No. Listen, I don't. Hey, if I'm going to be partying in the afterlife, there might be some Jews there. I just,
there might be maybe a.
I have a wristband,
some
and I can go
Muslims and
into
some Hindus. And
I can
some
go into
Buddhists
the other. Yes, I don't believe.
He's just hoping there's Jews because he's going to still want to work.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
I need a job.
I hope to see Richard Parker again.
That's right.
He told me he was going to be in heaven. But I had always said, I don't know if you believe it strictly. The problem I always had if you didn't accept scripture, you were not going to be able to get into heaven. I always said, well, what about severely developmentally disabled people with severe retardation that they can't quote scripture?
Gurglers,
they can't understand scripture.
Yeah.
So are they banished?
Or what about all the babies that die before they even
Well,
have a chance
before they're baptized.
And by the
The
way,
last pope lifted that one.
I was just going to say, I hate to tell you, but Limbo's that it not
No more
only
Limbo?
is gone.
It was a great game. It was a great childhood
wasn't
game.
even there.
I missed that game. The
Wasn't even
Jamaicans
there.
are unbelievable. I've seen one go with roller skates. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a great example of what's wrong with religion. I mean, for hundreds and hundreds, well, thousands of years,
And we change it just
people
like
have
that.
believed that their children are suffering in this awful purgatory and told by their leaders in their churches that that's what's going on. And then come the 21st century, some jagoff decides, now we take it all back. Give me my hat. Let's go out and ride in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's an asshole for doing that, in my opinion.
He's an
So
Argentinian.
the
but I
Catholics-
have to-
They're making it up. That's my point. It's all made up.
The problem I had as a kid growing up with religion was, as a 12-year-old, I guess, or 11 years old, and I received my communion and I received my confirmation because my father, made me.
And did you get married in a Catholic church?
No. In fact, there was no Catholic priest. There was no any religious affiliation. I got married in a friend's house in front of his fireplace with some friends and my wife knew that was never going to happen. I can't be a hypocrite about that.
Terrific.
But my point was that as a 12-year-old or 11-year-old, I forgot how old you are when you get.
It's 12, I believe, confirmation.
Confirmation.
It was an Episcopal church.
I would go to the basement of the church. Every
Always a
Sunday.
dangerous place, I've been told.
Well, this was with the nun, Sister Ursula, who was, when I tell you, probably the meanest, most. Oh my God! This woman was never happy about it.
Well, we have her here. Ursula, come on.
But you see, now this is interesting because, and this is, now there's so many people that have their definition of the church has been defined by a bad priest or a bad nun. And that's something that you talked about the last time you were on the show, is that your story is a little bit worse. Is that, and it's like meeting
You
someone.
drew a conclusion inaccurately, I think.
Just now or before?
Well,
I draw
what you're
many.
suggesting, my upbringing really has nothing to do with my. In fact, it was during my upbringing that was so awful, so many bad things happening that we're talking about, molestation, abandonment, all kinds of awful things, that I was pushed towards religion. It was well after I had handed all of that baggage off and had stopped having it be part of my life that I found my way out of that fog of bullshit. Just to be clear.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say that we were given a book for our confirmation. We had to memorize it. We had to memorize the answer. There was a question, who is God, and all these things. And it wasn't like, okay, let's discuss this. This is the answer.
Right.
Period. This is the answer. And I'm thinking as a 12-year-old, this doesn't make any sense.
But this is a 12-year-old in the late 50s, early 60s.
This is in, late 50s.
Okay. There wasn't much. The 12-year-olds weren't allowed to discuss much in any forum.
Well, okay. But I still didn't understand how you could just accept this.
You wanted to ask questions.
It doesn't
faith.
Right.
Because it made no sense. It was like being told there's no Santa Claus. There is no Santa Claus. But if I said to you, you know what? Oh, yeah, that's true.
Son of a...
It's a pagan thing anyways, right?
Yeah, it is.
But I could say
Tell
to
that
you
to your daughter.
There is.
I will.
And I could absolutely stand here and say there is a Santa Claus. And you can't tell me I'm wrong.
I've seen the movies.
You've seen the movies.
Miracle on 34th
yeah.
Street features who? Not God, Santa Claus.
That's
Thank you.
right.
Case closed.
Well, I love this. I love this. Earlier, you had said that we're on even footing, and I love you bringing it back around to that because I really wanted to tell you nothing could be further from the truth.
That we're not?
The
Okay.
only footing that you're on even par with, you and other believers
Mm-hmm.
who claim this God thing, are the guys walking around in the insane asylums mumbling that they're
The
Jesus
chosen- the
or the
chosen
chosen one or any famous figure. I mean, that's the footing you're on. You are not on the same footing as the scientists, as the humanists at all. You're basing your belief system on emotion and on an ancient home, an ignorant ancient home written by retarded Bedouins. We, in the sciences, are basing our footing on evidence, fact. We're basing it on the scientific
what are we
process.
actually debating now? What is
The
the
existence
existence
of
of God?
Yeah.
But do you see what I say? You see what I'm getting at? I mean, when you say we're on even footing, that's what apologists do every day, and they're wrong. You can have your claim, but I would beg you to try not to pretend that you're at a place you're not in terms of in terms of your claim. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry.
No,
Well, if science can prove what happens to us after life, and now clearly our heart stops pumping blood,
Sure.
and our brain stops sending signals to our nerves and neurons, and
Yep.
and we'd stop to move, and that's that. How does science determine our soul?
Not being able to determine something doesn't put it on an
I
even
understand.
footing with that
Okay,
which can be
so
determined.
You disagree with my term even footing, but you can't disprove the existence of a soul. You can't disprove what
I don't have to.
Okay, but I don't. But I don't also go. I don't dispute science. I mean, see, this is you and I get into an argument because we have a different belief system. But you're dealing with a person that believes in science also. I happen to believe in science and religion, and that's not good enough for you. And I just don't understand why the atheists don't go off. If you just want to have a science fair and be fine with it, don't come into church because.
Well, we don't. You know, it's
Yeah,
not
we
like
don't.
atheists have. We don't have meetings and group together and say.
You should, because it needs
Well,
to be like an AA.
but
There are some. There are some. that
I
do.
mean, I don't go
You don't.
and meet with other. It's someone who believes in something and someone who doesn't, and I don't. I don't need to go to be convinced of anything else. I don't need to be convinced more of what I don't believe in.
And as a Catholic or as a believer in God, I'm not asking you to either. I'm not proselytizing anyone in this room. Carlos has his beliefs, Charlie has his beliefs, and Emery has coffee. So, but I'm not asking you to. And I guess part of it, and this is
I am.
part of, yes, you
I'm
want-
proselytizing.
You do. You proselytize.
No question. I'm
And
as guilty
and
as
that's-
most of the guys in your camp.
and I understand that, but I'm not asking you to accept anything. You're asking
You know,
me
and
to
what's interesting
accept
too
something.
is that we can have the discussion now. 50 years ago, you told somebody you were an atheist. It was like telling
It's a different
them you were
conversation.
a Nazi.
Yeah.
You could tell them that you were,
A Nazi.
they wanted to, burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
You couldn't have that discussion as if
200 years
atheists-
ago, they literally did. And
Yeah.
in some parts of the world,
Well,
they
that's what I'm
still
saying.
do.
Well, but now here in this country, we can do that. There's nothing to fear from, and it's not like after we're done, we're going to go out, we're going to do black magic.
I'm sorry. I think the reason why Emery is a proselytizing atheist is because he sees the importance that factual information get across, so that we can finally accept things like gay marriage. Because the only reason people oppose it is believe in a myth that this is the way things were supposed to be, based upon a book that was written by desert dwellers who, even if you believe in the Bible, were certainly nowhere near being experts on sexual human development or human
And
sexual
on
development.
parts of a book that were decided by King
that's why it's
Constantine,
important.
what goes in, what goes out. This
Hey,
one's
listen,
good.
and
This one
I've told
contradicts
you,
it, throw
you
it
want to have
away.
gay marriage, go right ahead. You just cannot get married in a church, and that's the difference between. That's where we have our separation.
Catholic
But the
of
only
church
reason
and
you
state.
couldn't is based on fear and disinformation. And
Well, if
that's-
we're going to go forward as a society, and a society that believes in science, then our politicians need to vote in.
the marriage is already legalized before you get to the church. The church is this the ceremony.
Yes.
So, but Episcopalian churches host gay weddings. So why?
Well,
they've
whoop-de-doo,
evolved.
they
So
can
do
also paint it
Unitarians.
different colors.
They've evolved. That's all I want to say.
The only contract where gender is a factor is the marriage contract.
Yeah.
Stop and ponder the ignorance of that, the awfulness of that. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong.
So is marrying your sister, but that's a different gender.
And so is marrying your dog.
Right.
But
well, I can't wait because we'll be
it's-
there in
it's-
15 years.
Now that's the slippery
no,
slope
you see, that's
argument.
where we go off.
It's not the
into-
slippery slope argument. It's the bullshit argument.
That's right.
Okay?
Well, we're gonna
There's
say-
no slippery slope there. To suggest that the next thing that comes,
Right.
let me be clear on this, to suggest that the next
way to
thing
end.
that follows, homosexual marriage, is bestiality, is an ignorant and desperate attempt to turn homosexuals into animals, and that's what that's about.
Ben Carson.
It's about hatred. It's about ignorance, and it's awful, and it's fucking McCarthyist at best.
Listen, who's going to sing show tunes if we don't have the gays? So there you go.
I want to sing with the
Carlos,
rest.
what do you got coming up?
I've got some more El Chupacabra stuff for Pixar. I'll be doing promotions for that. May 15th, I'll be at the Federal upstairs doing comedy. TK Matheson's TK
In North
Comedy.
Hollywood.
In North Hollywood. It's a really great club on Lankershim and Chandler. And I'm doing some more voice work, and I'm going to play cards with Charlie's wife. That's
All
what
right.
I got coming up.
Charlie, thank you for joining us. It's
You're
great. It was
welcome.
great having
It
you
was
in
great
Los
fun,
Angeles.
man.
Congratulations
Nice to meet
on,
you, Charlie.
on
Thank
your
you.
new
Nice to
on
meet
your
you.
new granddaughter. Emery, we can hear you on the Ardent Atheist.
That's right. Or
on this
Skeptically
net-
Yours
and
on Mondays. Wednesdays, Ardent Atheist.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Vince?
Carlos and I will be filming our sketch comedy called Live from the Bowl. We're doing a couple of episodes tomorrow night here. We'll see you next week on the Facebook Wars.
Fight.
Catch us on iTunes. Thanks. God bless.
As I walk through